So the Trump and Epstein shutdown is continuing, and that's what I'm going to be calling it from here on out, because in my gut, I'm of the opinion that the whole reason this thing is waging on is because they don't want to reopen the government. Because when they do, they're going to have to swear in Adelita Grijalva out of Arizona. She's the 218th vote that Thomas Massie needed in order to be able to release the files. And so they're dancing all around this one as much as they can. I've had people say to me, Brando, how long do you think that the government will actually be shut down? And to tell you the truth, I think this is what Republicans wanted. I mean, I really do believe that this is what Donald Trump and the Republican Party wanted. In my opinion, the government's been shut down since January 20th. I mean, it's not been working for the American people. It's been working for Donald Trump and his billionaire buddies. So I don't know. Like, when people ask me, when do you think it'll reopen? I really couldn't tell you. And I really do believe that they're going to delay it as long as they can because of what's going on. But one thing that I saw that just absolutely sickened me to my core, this is the one I've been watching, this is the one I've been waiting on, was to see if Trump will pardon Ghislaine Maxwell or not. And he was asked about that. And this was his response. Take a look.
The Supreme Court is back, and they rejected today.
Say it.
The Supreme Court is back, and they rejected today an appeal by Ghislaine Maxwell to overturn her conviction. That means her only chance of getting out of prison is a pardon from you. Is that something you're...
Who are we talking about?
Ghislaine Maxwell.
I haven't heard the name in so long. I can say this, that I'd have to take a look at it. I would have to take a look. Did they reject that?
She wanted to appeal her conviction.
And what happened?
They said that they were not going to hear her appeal.
I see. Well, I'll take a look at it. I will speak to the DOJ. I wouldn't consider it or not consider it. I don't know anything about it. So, but I will speak to the DOJ.
Why would she be a candidate for clemency, sir?
I don't know. I mean, I'd have to speak to the DOJ. I'll look at it. I have a lot of people who have asked me for pardons. I call him Puff Daddy has asked me for a pardon.
But she was convicted of child sex trafficking.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to take a look at it. I have to ask DOJ. I didn't know they rejected it. I didn't know she was even asking for it, frankly.
Missiles to Ukraine, sell them to NATO, sell them to Ukraine.
Yeah, I've sort of made it.
That is one of the most screwed up responses that I have ever seen. And when he said, I haven't heard that name in a long time, I immediately flashed back to just a couple of weeks ago. Back in August, he was asked about it, and he knew about it then. I'm sure that he's heard her name quite a bit, and I'm sure that they're all squirming and trying to figure out what to do. But that was one of the most deer-in-headlight answers that I've ever seen. And that should just be Exhibit A for how to spot a bullshitter. Like, if you was doing a class on how to spot a bullshitter, you would just play that clip and say, this here is exactly how that you spot a bullshitter, because he was so deer in headlights. I don't know. Is she asking for one? Haven't heard that name in a long time. Well, I'd have to take a look at it. That's not the answer when someone asks you a question about pardoning a convicted child sex trafficker. The answer to that question is hell no. They will never receive a pardon from me. But he just lumps her in with all of his other January 6th patriots and everyone else that he considers a hero. She gets lumped right in there with them. And after they go around for years calling themselves the party of pro-life, the party that's all about protecting children from the drag queens. Oh, we got to stop the drag queens from reading a book to your kid. But we'll have to take a look at it when it comes to this child sex trafficker. We'll have to take a look at that one. I'll have to look into that. That's one that I would never have to look into. If I was sitting there, President of the United States, and someone said, hey, there's a convicted child sex trafficker that's looking for a pardon, the answer would be an overwhelming hell no. But I feel like there's a deeper reason why that he always looks deer in headlights when he hears her name. And I believe, when you look back at everything that's happened, from the moment that Elon said he's in the files, it's been one big train wreck ever since that moment. That's the moment where it all went kwaboom. And now here we are trying to pick up the pieces and make sense of it. Because after that, we got told that the list was on Pam Bondi's desk, and then we got told that no, there's not a list. And then MAGA influencers got handed phase 1, and then they got told, well, there's not going to be a phase 2. And then Kash Patel said, oh, he wasn't trafficking, Epstein wasn't trafficking to anyone but himself. And then Howard Lutnick goes on a podcast and says, oh, he was the greatest blackmailer of all time. So it's just been one giant train wreck, and Ghislaine Maxwell got moved to a cushy country club prison, which is something else that a child sex trafficker should never get. And now here we are with the government shutdown. We've got the 218th vote just waiting to be sworn in, and they're hesitating. So that's why that I would refer to this as the Trumpstein shutdown. I mean, that's how it seems to me. I'm not Ben Matlock. I'm not Perry Mason, but I can pretty much see all the evidence in front of me and say to myself that this does not make sense. I'm going to play a clip here of Akeem Jeffries. I'm glad to see that he's finally calling this out for what it is. We need more of this from the Democratic Party. Take a look.
And the interesting thing to me is, why are House Republicans still on vacation? They've actually been on vacation for the last few weeks, and Mike Johnson, once again, has canceled votes. Why are they so afraid of being here at the Capitol and doing their job? Why don't Republicans want to swear in Representative-elect Adelita Grijalva? Is it the Epstein files? Is it the unwillingness to address the Republican health care crisis? Is it because they know the American people have blamed Republicans for recklessly shutting down the government? Or is it all of the above? House Democrats are here on duty. House Republicans remain on vacation. That's a shame. Fact. And the interesting thing to me is, why are House Republicans still on vacation?
And let's talk about.
So that clip there played twice, but the point was made. I do believe that it is all of the above, but I do believe that it leans harder on the Epstein, because the minute they reopen the government, they have to face up to the music. And I don't think they want to face that music. And it's really a shame to me to see people sit back and continue to go to bat for Donald Trump after they're the ones that made Epstein their main talking point. It wasn't us. They're the ones that made Epstein their main talking point, and they really did believe that when Donald Trump got back into power, he would expose the deep state. You got to understand, they felt like that everything was wrongfully taken away from them in 2020. They believed that. We know it's bullshit, but they believed it. So they just thought, if we can get him back over the finish line, he'll get it right the next time. That's what these people really truly believed. And so they got him back. They were waiting for the deep state to be exposed. And you got people like Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. I mean, they built their podcasting careers off of this subject. Kash Patel said, well, the FBI has the list. The FBI knows the answers. And then he gets in there and he's working for the FBI. And I would have just loved to have been a fly on the wall when people like him and Bongino got behind closed doors and started looking at what was right in front of them. And it's pretty funny to me how that after years of talking about this, now, after saying they're going to bring down the deep state, they have become the deep state. And it's one of those things where I look at the way that I think when I consider, who I vote for. I vote, and I have voted for Democrats my entire life. That's because that I've always felt in every election that I've ever voted in that the Democrat was the better person for the job. But if they came out and just did a complete 180 on everything that they had ever promised, I mean, I understand that I'm not always going to get my way on every little single issue, but if they just came out and did a complete 180 and said the exact opposite, I would be the first one calling bullshit. I would be the first one saying this is not what I voted for. Now, I am seeing some MAGA say that. There's some. But then there's those that just continues to hold on to this for as long as they can and just continue to ride it out and ride it out. And I say to myself, when will they finally wake up and realize that they were duped? And I've seen a lot of left-leaning creators say things like, I was never interested in this. This wasn't a subject that I really wanted to talk about, but now I am interested in it. And I'll be honest with you, I've always been interested in this because Epstein died on Trump's watch. And a lot of people tried to shift and blame that on the Clintons. Immediately, the conspiracy theorists started saying that Bill Clinton must have walked in there with a cigar at night and did it or whatever. But I personally was like, this happened on Trump's watch. Maybe we should take a look at that. But then they began to cook up all of their conspiracy theories, and I did begin to sort of write it off like, probably just a bunch of MAGA conspiracies. But now that the ball's in their court, now that they're the ones holding on to this, and it's theirs, again, I'm not Matlock or Perry Mason, but they do look guilty as hell. I mean, it's like, it really is when you see the way that it's all unraveled since Elon dropped that bomb. And I forgot the part about Elon being mentioned in there and Steve Bannon being mentioned in there. So it's funny to me. I always circle back to this point, and it may get repetitive, but I'm always going to circle back to this point so that people doesn't turn and say, both sides are the same, man. No, we're not, because if Democrats are on the list and Democrats did wrong, I don't care if it's Bill Clinton or who the hell, If they hurt innocent women and children and they did wrong, put them to the bottom of the jail, and I won't have to throw away one Bill Clinton flag. I won't have to peel one Bill Clinton sticker off of nothing. I don't have no action figures of Bill Clinton. I don't have any of that stuff. So I'm not going to lose any merch, nor am I going to lose sleep if he did something wrong and he's found guilty. I can say that. The question becomes, can Republicans say it? And I think we all know the answer.